So today I'm going to show you how you can build up your coursework development with some mixed media design. This is quite fun to do as well. So you can just do this with plastic bags or any kind of plastic packaging. So I've got an array of things here. So this is just quite a thin carrier bag from Sainsbury's. This is it looks like silver foil, but it's not. It's actually plastic. It's silver and gold plastic, so you could use either side of this. This comes from some chocolates. This is a postal bag. You've got two different colours here. So you've got the front, the white you can use, and you've also got the black back you can use. It's quite nice and thick, good to use. It's from Clark's online shopping. Again, nice and thick, good to use. The mesh off of your oranges, lemons and limes, or potatoes, whatever you've got that's coming in a plastic mesh. That's really good to use. So place that in there first. You might want to, as it's going to be a sample for your book to start off with, you might want to cut it into a bit of a better shape first before you start for your background. So I'm going to just do a rectangle. It's not the best shape, I can trim it up afterwards, but just so that it fits nicely within your piece of greaseproof paper. This is from the chocolate wrapper. As I say, you can also get this inside tea wrappers. It has to be the plasticized silver foil though, not actual metal silver foil. Doesn't matter if things overlay slightly, it could look quite good. You don't know until you try. So you're going to do several of these experiments, because the more you experiment, the more ideas you get, and you see which bits work, which bits don't. Okay, like that. So I might have that on my background. Then I might want to put some black on top, because that'd be a nice contrast between. So what I could do, save having loads of tiny little pieces, is I could fold this first, like this, fold it again, and maybe fold it again. And then if I cut out a square or a circle, whatever I want, from in here, I do that on that side, and then on this side I might cut a slightly bigger one, possibly a slightly longer one, just see what it looks like. Might not look very good, but you don't know until you try. Okay, and then I can open that up like that. And then I'm going to place it black side facing up. I could put it white side facing up if I wanted it to be more subtle, but I kind of want a bit of a contrast going on there, so I'm going to put it that way up. And I think I'll have it coming over the page just a little bit there, like that. So it's not perfect. So now I've got some of my my gold revealing from underneath, using the netting stuff that you get off of the lemons and limes. So I'm going to cut a piece of that and just see what it looks like over the top. So this is that stuff. Put it down the middle. And something else you can do with this is just cut it this way. Cut it that way like that. I'm going to put that one in there, like that. And this one, I'm going to manipulate it. I'm going to stretch it out a bit and see what happens when I stretch it out. So you can see the difference, because obviously you want to experiment and see what looks good. It might look rubbish, it might look good. You don't know until you try. So you could manipulate that, and you could put that piece down this end here. So now you want to fold it over and close it in there. Make sure that none of your bits of plastic are poking out, because if they hit the iron, it will burn on the bottom of the iron. Your iron can be quite hot, so you can put it somewhere between medium and hot. It doesn't take a long time for this to melt and adhere to one another. So you can almost see it happening as you look through. And the longer you leave it on, the more the plastic will melt. And I don't know whether you can see or not in the video, but can you see where it's distorting? Those kind of clean cuts that I made are starting to wrinkle up a little bit, and that in itself can be quite interesting as well. So sometimes it's best to wait for it to cool down before you peel the back off. But this one's actually working all right. I peeled out of it therefore you can see it a bit better. So the tea packet, well that was actually a chocolate packet, but it's similar to a tea packet, is all curled up. But the centre of it is stayed, because the 3 layers are all adhered to one another, it's stayed quite firm. So you can see the reflection, how it's changing depending on what I've layered over the top of it. And you've got a nice contrast between the colours of the bag as well. So that's the first experiment. So we're gonna put down some pieces of the gold. So this was the tea packet, chocolate packet. And then I'm going to cut this out again. So the way I cut that out was I folded it. Used black last time, but I'm trying a bit of green this time just to see if it makes any difference. Might try cutting it out a different way as well. Maybe this time I will cut it out of the corners. So I'm going to go like this instead. So cut the 4 corners out. Now the reason I'm doing this rather than actually trying to cut out the individual holes, you could do it with a knife like that if you wanted to be more precise. But not only is it quicker, but also it's all contained. So the thing isn't going to move around so much. The more small pieces you've got on here, the more difficult it is going to be to keep it in place and enclose it. So there you go. So that one's a little bit more geometric. I'm going to put that on top like that. Move that gold across a little bit so it's underneath. So try that like that. You can manipulate it and change it a little bit if you want to. Okay, so then fold it over. You can see a little bit what it looks like before you start doing it. If it's moved too much, you can do that to change it a little bit. And then I'm going to put my iron on top. Doesn't need a lot of time. Make sure you haven't got any of your little bits that you've cut out near your iron, because otherwise they're going to stick to the bottom of your iron. Okay, that'll do. So sometimes, depending on the plastics, you have to wait for it to cool down a little bit more. So it's created quite a cool pattern on the back of that as well, actually, from the mesh. So there you go, that's a slightly different one to what I did to start off with. So you've got really good, nice reflection there. So I'll do one more experiment before you start doing this yourself. This is another plastic bag. This is a Marks & Spencer's bag, so I'm going to use the red side of it as my background. Just double check it fits within the greaseproof paper before I start. I'm going to put the gold chocolate paper on half of it first, like that. Rather than doing strips this time, I'm going to see what it looks like as a whole piece underneath. And then out of here, I'm going to cut a more organic pattern this time. So I'm going to have the black again, just make sure this fits okay. If you've got any areas that are folded and fixed with heat from the packaging process, you might want to cut that off first. Straighten that off a little bit as well. Like that. So this time I'm going to concertina it. So I'm going to fold it that way first. And I'm going to fold it this way using my nail and my 2 nails, my thumbnail, my first finger nail, to straighten that nicely. Fold it again. And then do one more. Okay, and then I'm going to fold it down the middle. And now I'm going to cut out more of an organic shape this time. So that one from that side. Oh, so my scissors aren't very sharp. that one from that side. I want to use some of these offcuts. Some of those shapes in particular are quite nice, but put them to the side away from the iron, because otherwise they're going to get stuck to the bottom of your iron. So I'm just going to move them off of there a minute. Okay, then open it out, see what you've got. So I'm going to lay this over the gold and over the red, like that. Okay, and then at the top I might see, well, I think this red might look quite good on the gold, so sorry, on the black. So I'm going to distort it a little bit first. And place it over there like that. So this is quite a simple design, this one, but you can work back into it afterwards as well. Okay, let's close that. You can see through whether or not it's moved or not. Then use the iron to fix it in place. Okay, so as you can see, you've still got really good sheen with the gold, and the black's gone quite matte, which has given it even more of a contrast. And that's nice. That webbing, that mesh on top of the plastic looks good. So now you've got lots of open space to experiment. A border of back stitching in here to create another pattern maybe, or even you could do hash stitch across here on some of them and see what they look like. You could make them look more like fish. You could, if you've got a machine, you could stitch through some of the lines of the water.